What's up YouTube, welcome back to a new video here on my YouTube channel. And in today's video I just want to do something I've done before, a voiceover, because I was just feeling lazy not to edit and record at the same time. But yeah, I got this image from Kinstills. I'll link his Instagram handle down in the description below. Go check him out. He's also a good photographer. He's just helping us do this quarantine and edits boredomness we've been practicing for quite some time now. So if you're here and you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe, turn on the bell notification icon to get notified whenever I drop a new video later in the future, which I know I'll be dropping a lot of them. And yeah, so it's just a quick edit. Well, not really a quick edit because it's quite a lengthy video. It's going to be a retouching of what I did of his image, my retouching skills on his image, and I was also trying to kill some boredomness. I also put out some raw files. People tried it, and I was like, hey, why not pick one of his raw files and try my hands on them? So yeah, this video is literally about me editing his picture my way, using my dodging and bending skills that I've learned so far, and a couple of grading with my skin art and blah blah blah. But yeah, and no, my skin art is still up for sale, but at a discounted price. Hit me up in my DMs on Instagram and get yours, and you will not regret getting it because it works. Well, I've gotten a lot of good reviews on it, and I wish my link was still up to that page to buy it, but I think there's been a problem. But hey, that's not what we're about today. We're just here to retouch this picture and we'll be good to go. So let's just get started right about now. So looking at the images he presented to me, I looked through, that's what we call curling, and I picked this particular one, right? And this is the adjustment I did in there with my exposure, the levels. Normally I go to the levels a lot, and seeing that the image was saturated to me, I reduced the vibrance there. That's the saturation you're seeing there. I reduced the white balance too, and I went into my reds and my oranges to just remove some colors that were too much for me. I think he shot this with a Canon 6D and 85mm. I don't know if it was the 1.8, but this was shot at f7.1, one light with a reflector. So before this, the down part of the skin was too dark, so I masked it and I increased the brightness. So if you can see the before and after, you can literally see the difference. So the brightness was pushed up to, let's say, 6. Was it 6 or 11? Yeah, 11. It was pushed up to 11. So just to brighten up that part of your skin, just to make it look good. So this is another part of the image, and I think I love this one because of the smile. The smile was too great for me. So right from here, I did edit with Adobe Photoshop 2019 to file to maintain my colors, Adobe RGB to still have enough colors to play around with. Then straight into Photoshop. So here in Photoshop, you guys know me. Whenever I'm in Photoshop, the very first thing I do is Blemish Removal, and I had to duplicate my layer. You always have to duplicate your layer so that it doesn't become distractive for you, right? So if you're wondering my Blemish Removal technique, I'll put up a suggest card up there. I have a full tutorial on Blemish Removal with 3 tools. That's the healing brush tool and the patch tool and the clone stamp tool. I think I did another video on the clone stamp tool too, so I will suggest a link to that. You guys should, if you're wondering how and why I'm doing this, that video is there to explain a lot, because this video is just a long video, a lengthy video to teach you guys on retouching, on how I do my retouching on a normal day-to-day basis. So I'll do a few of these and we'll see what we can do from there. So if you want to skip this part because you know how to take off your blemishes, right about now I think I'm using the healing brush tool, the spot healing brush tool. So if you want to skip this, you can skip this to the point where everything has been done. But if you want to stay with me and watch this, you can watch with me how I take off my blemishes. carefully. So I sample close to the subject or to where I want to take off the blemish, then I clean it out. Mostly is what's distracting to my eye and something I don't want to see in the final image. So majority of the time I split my screen when I'm doing this, but I don't know why I didn't split my screen this time around, because maybe like I said, I was feeling lazy earlier and I just wanted to do this as quickly as possible. Just put out something on my YouTube channel for you guys, a full edit once again, for you guys to see how I do my retouching. So this is retouching your works. Should I label it that way? No, I don't want the title to be retouching your works, but yeah. So if you want to skip it, you can skip it, but just know that at some point I was actually using other tools to do this retouch. I'm still using the healing brush too though, so and I think I'll switch to the patch tool. And with the patch tool, the only time I get to use the patch tool is when I'm taking the blemish of an area which is almost blurred out. And looking at this, I think the focus point was on the eye, and which was a 1 point focus, so the nose was kind of blurred out, which was to my advantage if you tell me. But on a normal beauty I don't know if this is a beauty image or a portrait, but if you're looking at this for a normal, like a beauty perspective, you're supposed to keep most of the face sharp. So the nose, the lips, the skin itself should be sharp. I'm not trying to dispute the fact that this is a good image, but if you're looking at that, I think a higher aperture would have been great, like let's say f11, f12, to keep all those intact. But hey, this is definitely a great image. So right now I want to take off those baggy eye thing you see there with the clone stamp tool. So the non-destructive way of using the clone stamp tool is what I'm practicing right now, with a flow of 19 or 20. Then I just take off some lines in there. Remember, I'm using a soft brush, so this is not that destructive. You still get to see some of the lines, the eye baggy lines over there, so remnants of the baggy eyes. Like I said, if you want to learn how to use the clone stamp tool effectively and non-destructively on the skin, I'll suggest a link card for you. Tap on the link. That's if you want to go and watch that video and come back to this. But tap on the link, go watch how you non-destructively use the clone stamp tool for skin retouching.
I take out the coins in my pocket where you make cling cling. So I dey walk for road, where I dey plan what I go buy. But as I reach there, no, I see say my money lost. But I no get no worries, okay. I still dey hunger, child. So I beg me quick cook one leg. I go dance in the street. Forget no shoe. just chill to the beat till they come easy. Okay, if that's okay.
Well, I always say to every good retouch, you have to waste a lot of time on your blemish removal, because after the blemish removal everything becomes very easy for you, because majority of the fix will be done in the blemish removal, right? So if I waste majority of my time, like let's say tops 10-20 minutes in blemish removal, carefully removing blemishes I don't need in there, my dodging and bending process becomes easy, or my frequency separation process will become very easy for me, because already I have fixed the skin and I'm just good to go from there. So right about now I want to fix the background, and I'm using the magic wand tool. This tool helps when you have a seamless background with just one color. But if you have different shades of colors on the background, just use the normal masking tool, then you're good to go. So I'm trying to soften the edges of the skin. Yes, so if you want to know how to fix your background too, I have a video on that. I think it's still in my playlist, my Take Me Back to Basics playlist, how to fix background. So it's the same process I'm using here, if you're wondering. So yeah, do your selection, invert, and I think I sampled somewhere into the skin too. So I'm back to the quick selection tool, just trying to fix it. I'll invert my layer, then we'll blur the background. I wish I wasn't explaining this, because I have already explained that in a previous video, a whole basic tutorial video on that. So this is something easy if you've watched those videos, but if you haven't, kindly go check my Take Me Back to Basics edit, how to edit or fix your background, a seamless background, for it to look clean and neat as possible. So I'll go a top notch by trying to fix the color issue on the background too. I'll put in some curves, push in some colors, then we'll be good to go.
So I beg me quick cook my life. I go dance in the street. Forget no shoe. Who cares if they see, just dance to the beat. Go to sa. Sean, they look me so. Dance for a stop. The life is so short, make it take a busy. So cook my life. I go dance in the street. Forget no shoes. Who cares if they see, just dance to the beat.
So here merging everything for it to be the healing layer. So most of the time my healing layer is composed of background fix, blemish removal, liquify, and all that, but here I didn't do anything liquify. Yeah, so I would want to show you how I create my dodge and bend layers, because I've been getting quite a lot of requests on the fact that I just play my action and I don't show you guys. So here is me showing you guys. I know I've been talking about how I created them, but well, here's me showing you guys how to create your own dodge and bend layer using curves, right? So the dodge, you push in the curves a little bit to the highlighted areas to brighten it up, invert it. With the bend, you darken it up, then you invert it, all with a normal blending layer. So there are two types of dodging and bending: the local dodging and bending and the global dodging and bending, right? So I duplicated the same layers I did before, because I didn't want to I wanted to maintain the accuracy in the movements of the curves. and me changing these to luminosity will let you know that I don't want to tackle the colors on the skin. I just want to brighten up and darken up. Right, so that's global dodging and bending and local dodging and bending. Local dodging and bending having to deal with just blending the area where I would want them to look the same or almost close to the same, because I don't want some parts looking brighter or darker than each other. Trying to explain this dodging and bending thing is quite tedious, but it's easy when you use the helper layer, which is the black and white layer. And creating the black and white layer is what you saw me do. Change the blending mode to color and it becomes black and white. This is, I think, by far the best black and white to create if you want to use a helper layer for dodging and bending, because if you pick up the normal black and white layer adjustment, with that you have the possibility of controlling the reds and yellows on the skin, which is basically what the skin is made up of. So I'm creating two different kinds of help layer, which is one is the normal black and white layer and one is the inverted check layer. The inverted check layer is the same as the black and white layer but inverted. So your whites becomes your blacks and your blacks becomes your whites. It's kind of confusing, but if you sit down and learn it, it's cool. So I pick a brush and change the flow to 2, opacity 100, and I make sure my hardness is at 0. It's a soft round brush, hardness is at 0. And I won't stress this enough. If you want to effectively dodge and bend your skin, try and use a Wacom tablet. And if you're wondering how to use a Wacom tablet and set up your Wacom tablet, I still have a video on that on my Take Me Back to Basics. It's quite simple. Just watch and learn how to set up your Wacom tablet for retouching in Photoshop and even in Lightroom. No, I think it was just Photoshop. So set up your Wacom tablet for Photoshop. Maybe all depends on how you want it to look like or how you want it to feel like, but the whole idea of graphics tablet is the pressure sensitivity in it, and we are building up on the dodging and bending. It's not just one stroke then everything is fixed. So we build up from somewhere and we end up somewhere. So the idea of the graphics tablet is the same thing. So the pressure sensitivity helps you with the building up. You know, we all use the pencil to draw all the time, or if you are trying to shade in with the pencil, you obviously start from a softer stroke, then you end up with a harder stroke, right? So tinting and shading, try and research on that, and you literally know how the dodging and bending process is. Why you need a graphics tablet, preferably a Wacom tablet. So I'm just showing you what I do most of the time with the localized dodging and bending or the local dodging and bending. I'm mostly localizing the areas I'm working around. So if there's a harsh line between the shadows and the highlights, I try and blend those with the dodge. And even within the places I'm dodging, I bring in the bend to make it look like, to make the color shade look almost the same, right? So the idea around this localized or local dodging and bending is mostly related to when you're using frequency separation. When you use frequency separation, you want to flatten the image, make every side of the image look neat and no blemish, like no different shades of skin color or skin blemish. So the local dodging and bending is still the same thing, right? It's the same thing in the sense that you are localizing the areas, you are blending the areas, you are literally flattening the areas. But with this, you are careful with that because you're following the light on the model skin. You're not just blending because you think this side needs to be this way, that side needs to be this way. The trick behind it is just follow the light pattern on the skin. So if it's a darker area, I suggest you blend out the darker area for it to be lighter. Then you blend in the darker areas to the other side of the areas for it to look the same. So like what I'm doing right now, I'm trying to darken the highlighted areas for it to look closer to the darker areas, which is the side of the face. So I blend and make sure that they both look the same, right? I dodge the darker areas, then I'll bend the highlighted areas for it to look similar. I don't overdo the dodging, I don't overdo the bending to flatten the whole image out. No, I just soften the shadows I see there, and I also soften the highlights I see there for the blending to be seamless, so that the transition looks very, very great.
For right, you go feel stop, say hi. Wish me what's up, how far? Cause I no get no worries, okay. Make you day like me, just Sean, make you. So I beg you, make we come on life. I go dance for streets, forget those shoes. Who cares if they see, just dance to the beat. Go to sack, Sean, they look me so. Dance for a top, cause life is too short, make we take a easy, easy.
As you dey listen me for your radio inside, I want make you move to the beat maker. Buy you story, why?
This Saturday as I get up, you first thing. I go base for kitchen, check the fridge, you I get bread. I spent one city coin, who we own you, I just miss. I take out the coins in my pocket where you make it. So I dey walk for a road, where I dey plan what I go buy. But as I reach there, no, I see say my money lost. But I no get no worries, okay. I still dey hunger, so I beg me quick cook my life. I go dance in the street, forget those shoes. Who cares if they see, just dance to the beat. Go to sa, Sean, they look me so. Dance for a top, cause life is so short, make me take a beat. Say, come on, I go dance in the street, forget those shoes. Who cares if they see, just dance to the beat. Say, go to sa, Sean, they look me so. Dance for a top, cause life is so short, make me take a easy. Yeah, let's go jazz and couple on this one. Now make you mellow and small. Down, 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 down. Shubade badi bo. Dee da da dee dee. Doo dee da da dee. So I beg, make me come on left. I go dance in the street, forget those shoes. Who cares if they see, just dance to the beat. Sean, they look me so. Dance for a love, cause life is too short, make me take a easy. Say, come on left. I go dance for street, forget those shoes. Who cares if they see, say, go to side. Sean, they look me so. Dance for a top, cause life is too short. Charlie, no stress, just chill for your ride inside. Whether it be trusty, taxi, bicycle, make it easy. Just chill to the beat till the day come easy. Adama, easy, easy, easy. It's my jam, it's my jam. Easy, easy, easy. Yeah, yeah. Ow. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Oh yeah, yanko. Life they be. Sometimes too we dey ball, but it's never written. No matter what. day for ride. You go feast up, say hi. Biz me what's up, how far? Cause I no get no worries, okay.
So like I mentioned, the invert check layer kind of confuses people, but this one helps when you have overblown highlights and very very dark shadows, like you're editing a very very dark image. When you invert, you get to see something different from the normal black and white we see all the time. From the normal black and white you see all the time. So the invert layer also works very very well if you really know what you're about. So I'm dodging the darker side you see, and that makes it becomes white. So you realize that they have inverted the layers. All I'm doing right now is burning the highlights and dodging the shadows. That's literally what I'm doing. So just know that the inverted layer is the blacks becomes your whites and your whites becomes your blacks. In other words, your shadows becomes the whites and your highlights becomes your blacks. That's basically what the invert check layer there is all about.
Just chill to the beat till they come and see. Okay, if that's Adama. Easy, easy, easy. It's my jam, it's my jam. Easy, easy, easy. Yeah, yeah. For ride, you go feast up, say hi. Biz me what's up, how far? Cause I no get no worries, okay. Make you day like me, just Sean, make you. So I beg you, make we come on live. I go dance for streets, forget those up, you first thing. I go base for kitchen, check the fridge, you I get bread. I spot one city coin, who we own you, I just miss. I take out the coins in my pocket where you make it. So I dey walk for road, where I dey plan what I go buy. But as I reach there, no, I see say my money lost. But I no get no worries, okay. I still dey hunger, so I beg me quick cook my leg. I go dance in the street, forget those shoes. Who cares if they see just dance to the beat? Go to Sa, they look me so. Dance for a top, cause life is so short, make you think I'm busy. So cook my leg. I go dance in the street, forget those shoes. Who cares if they see just dance to the beat? Say go to Sa, they look me so. Dance for a top, cause life is so short, make me think I'm busy. Yeah, let's go jazz and couple on this one. Now make you mellow and small. Down, 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 down. Shubade badi bo. Dee da da dee dee. Doobie da da dee. So I make me come on left. I go dance in the street, forget those shoes. Who cares if they see just dance to the beat? Say go to Sa, they look me so. Dance for a love, cause life is too short, make me think I'm busy. Say go on left. I go dance for street, forget those shoes. Who cares if they see? Say go to Sa, they look me so. Dance for a top, cause life is too short. Shawty, no stress, just chill for your ride inside. Whether it be trusty, taxi, bicycle, make it easy. Just chill to the beat till they come easy. Okay, if that's Adama. Easy, easy, easy. It's my jam, it's my jam. Easy, easy, easy. Yeah, yeah. Ow. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Oh yeah, yenko. Life baby. Sometimes too we dey ball, but it's never written. No matter what, before they come easy. Me I know they like stress. Way I know they want vex, but it no busy. I know they care. It just dey my head back. So if you see me for a road, way I dey walk or dey for ride, you go feel stop say hi. Biz me what's up, how far? Cause I no get no worries, okay. Make you day like me, just shun me. So I beg you, make we come on left. I go dance for street, forget those shoes. Who cares if they see just dance to the beat? Go to Sa, they look me so. Dance for a top, cause life is too short, make me take am easy, easy.
As you dey listen me for your radio inside, I want make you move to the beat maker. Buy you story, right?
This Saturday as I get up, you first thing. I go base for kitchen, check the fridge, you I get bread. I spot one city coin, who we own you, I just miss. I take out the coins in my pocket where you make it. So I dey walk for road, where I dey plan what I go buy. But as I reach
So even after a whole 30 to 20 minutes spent on blemish removal with the healing brush too, you realize as time went on, I'm even taking out some right now. That gets to show you that you don't really get to see everything from the onset. Like, you need to have a plan when you're retouching, right? So if you see me do this, that means I didn't notice those parts because I was so much concentrated on the face than that of the skin. So you take out blemishes when it's necessary and when you know it's distracting to your eye. And like I always say, 70% of your retouching comes from blemish removal. So kindly take your time when you are removing your blemishes.
Easy. Just chill to the beat till they come easy. Okay, if that's okay. Adama. Easy, easy, easy. It's my jam, it's my jam. Easy, easy, easy. Yeah, yeah. Ow. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Oh yeah, Yanko. Life they be. Sometimes too we dey ball, but it's never written. No matter what, before they come easy. Me I know they like stress. Way I know they want vex, but it no be say I know they care. It just dey my head back. So if you see me for a road, way I dey walk or dey for ride, you go feel stop say hi. Wiz me what's up, how far? Cause I no get no worries, okay. Make you day like me, just Sean, make you. So I beg you, make we come on life. I go dance for streets, forget those shoes. Who cares if they see, just dance to the beat. Go to sack. Sean, they look me so. Dance for a top. Cause life is too short, make we take them easy, easy.
As you dey listen me for your radio inside, I want make you move to the beat make I buy you story right.
This Saturday, as I get up, you first thing. I go base for kitchen, check the fridge, you I get bread. I spot one city coin, who we own you, I just miss. I take out the coins, it in my pocket where you make it.
So I know you've stayed with me for this long, and it's quite boring watching a video with just dodging and bending, a lengthy video as such. It's quite boring though, that I wouldn't lie to you, but this is my way of retouching images using a dodging and bending method. This is definitely a close-up, so much time and care is taken when retouching close-up images, because the least mistake you do will be noticeable by whoever it is watching or viewing the picture from their device. So you take much time when you're retouching this. And although it's a portrait, I was kind of treating this as a beauty image. So kindly forgive me. Right now I'm trying to edit the eye, like dodge and bend the eye. She had very, very reddish eyes, and I did some of the blemish removal when I was doing the healing. So if right now what you're seeing is me dodging and bending the dark spots and the highlighted spots in there, just to make the transition very, very smooth. So with the eye too, always take note, when you are zoomed in this way, you don't really get to see how 3D or 3D dimension, what's the word, you don't get to see how 3D the eye looks when you're zoomed in this way. But after doing all this dodging and bending, when you zoom out, you realize that you have flattened the eye, right? So make sure when you're dodging and bending the eye too, you put in mind that you need to zoom out, check how the eye is looking first, then you come back in, then you just dodge and bend the eye, which is quite simple because all you're doing is just trying to make everything look the same. So if it is a lighter shade of gray, I want the eye to look like. Wherever I see any dark spots, I just dodge that end for it to look lighter than the gray. And if it is darker, like if it is more brighter than the lighter gray I'm looking at, I'll just bend that dark side for it to look like it's the lighter gray I'm looking out for. So dodging and bending literally takes a lot of time. You just have to have patience for your image, which I know a lot of photographers don't have, because I have witnessed it when I put out my raw files. Not a lot of people took their time to retouch my pictures, and it was quite a shame. I was really disappointed, because this is not a rush. This is literally a lockdown season where you need to sit down, watch the image, retouch the image, and be very good at retouching, so that when you come out of this lockdown or quarantine, you have a new skill set to go about with. But hey, everyone was in a rush to retouch the image, and I wasn't so impressed. But with me, whatever image I'm treating, I'm always relaxed. Whatever time I have to give to the client, I give them the appropriate time for me to finish the edit. Then I sit down and relax and retouch the image to perfection. Not too perfect, but to the way that will be presentable to the client whenever he or she looks at the image and goes like, hey, I love this image, let's do this some other time. So yeah, I'm now on the global dodging and bending. This is where we literally do what we normally do with the dodging and bending. You bend your shadows and you dodge your highlights. So this side of the global dodging, or the dodging and bending process, this is where you bring back the 3D dimension feel of the image when you started. Because like I was saying earlier, the localized dodging and bending, which is the local dodging and bending, what you do there is to flatten out the image, right? Just like frequency separation, but the less destructive form of frequency separation. So you flatten out the image. Well, I'm not saying frequency separation, there isn't another way of doing it to reduce the destructiveness. I hope I'll do a video on that and I'll put it up very soon. But let's just learn this process. If you have the time, kindly sit down, watch this over and over again, then you learn something new during this quarantine season. So I'm just doing the normal thing we do all the time: bend the shadows, dodge the highlights with the global dodging and bending. And when I realize that I'm doing too much in that side, I come back to my localized dodging and bending, which is the fine parts. Then I just fix little patches that has come out from me doing the global dodging and bending. So yeah, it's just a back and forth process just to get the perfect skin to look very neat and presentable at the same time. So yeah, that's global dodging and bending for you, just bringing out that 3D dimension, like I said. So it's just all about bringing out the 3D dimension feel of the image after the flattening process. You can practice this. You can practice this at your own free time, which I know you have a lot of free time. Just keep on practicing. You become very good at it. So right about now, I just want to desaturate all these. All I'm about to do is whiten the eyes and teeth. So I'm not using a normal black and white layer. So you guys see what I'm doing. I used the hue and saturation layer, remove the colors I know will be present in the eye. Then I picked up a cooling filter, which is a blue filter, which is next to white. Then a curves adjustment, an S-curve adjustment, so that I can get the contrast in the eye. So this is how I create my eye whitening and eye and teeth whitening folder for you guys who have been asking me. So watch this process, create it, and if you have any other ways of creating this, kindly let me know in the description, in the comment section. Then maybe I also try that one out, then we'll see which one will work best. But for now, this one works very, very well for me, and I'm carefully drawing over the teeth. And after that, I'll just reduce opacity just to maintain that natural looking feel I wanted in there. So grading with this, I like to desaturate my images when I'm grading, right? I did that in Capture One, and in Photoshop too. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. But the best tool to grade with is the selective color, and you guys are seeing I don't have like a fixed amount on using the selective color. I always play around it, right? I play around it to get the kind of feel I want with my picture, and when it looks great, I keep it there. And the second thing I would want to do right now is use my skin lat that I created. So yeah, my skin lat is still up for sale at a discounted price. Hit me up in my DMs and get yours. It's affordable right now because of the conferences. I just want to support creatives by giving out this skin lat at a discounted price, not the same price I was selling before. So just get yours and try and use it to your feel. Note this is to the people who already have them. The skin lat is not 100% fixed to whatever it is you want to fix. It's a stepping stone to skin grading, or should I say skin correcting. It's just a stepping stone to skin correcting your image. Sometimes it's 100% fixed, sometimes you have to do a couple of adjustments, right? Nothing is like 100% when you ask me. So it's just there to help you skin grade your images. With Canon images, there are lots of reds, so majority of my skin lat tones there are there to take out the reds and give you a different vibe. So with this, I use the Caramel 4, which I normally use for light-skinned models. And after that, I reduce my opacity and I add some further adjustments. So right about now, I'm just reducing my saturation over the image using a normal gradients map black and white layer. So like you see, then from there I just fix some color patches on the skin, somewhere around the forehead, make the color transition very smooth, and somewhere around the jawbone area. So sample and paint over, sample and paint over on a new layer, which I have changed the blending layer of the new layer to color. So I'm just affecting color right now. No contrast, no lighting issues. It's just color issues that I'm fixing. So just if you have different ways of doing all these, just let me know down the comment section below. Then I am also available to learn, right? Although I'm putting up this YouTube tutorial, I'm also available to learn. This is how I edited this picture. This is not the right way or anything. No, I'm not screaming the right way to edit this picture, but this is another way of editing this picture, my way. So now I want to add some grains into the picture. All I did was create a new layer, filled it with 50% gray, then I added some grains, some noise into the picture, and changed the blending mode from normal to soft light. So this brings back the organic feel in the image. We want the image to feel organic, not like it's processed, right? So these are the ways I add grains, and I even sharpen my image in Photoshop. So watching this will definitely help you with the ways I do my thing, like I do my retouching. This is my personal way of retouching. You can have your own way. You can learn something from this, or you can add this kind of retouching skill set to your skill set. And yes, that's about it. So back into Capture One, I just darken my image a little bit. So this is definitely something I wanted to show you guys, the before and after. I think I want to show you straight what he got from the camera, and that I didn't show you from the beginning. So this is SOCC. This is straight from camera, and this is after Capture One adjustment, and that's the last one is the retouching. So this is definitely what I did for this image, and I hope I did something great for you guys to learn. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly subscribe. Like always, turn on the bell notification icon to be notified of my future uploads. and I'll see you in the next video. So just enjoy this side. Like I said, I wanted to darken my image in Capture One, so this is what I do after I'm done pushing some vibrance to bring back the saturation, then to bring back the color. And yeah, so I hope in my next video it will be about frequency separation, how to use frequency separation non-destructively, which I know I've put up a lot of that on my channel. And yeah, so we export it. Just take a look at the settings here in Capture One. This is how I get to export my images. I also have that in my Take Me Back to Basics edit. So if this is kind of a rush for you, go back to Take Me Back to Basics and you have everything there. So thank you for joining in on this video, on this long voiceover, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Sometimes too we dey